For today's final interview, we are talking about nurturing the next generation of heroes. And the best group, the best organization to talk to us about this is the Heroes Foundation. Welcoming via Zoom the CEO, Lawrence Arjoon. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, good morning, Dominique. Thank you very, very much for having me on this morning.
No problem at all. So let's get right into it. Why was the Heroes Foundation created?
That's a good question. Hero started 20 years ago by our founder, Philip
Wow.
Julian,
Okay.
who wanted to inspire children and youth in Trinidad and Tobago to find the hero within themselves. Because that is how we believe we can build a safe and sustainable society together, by enabling what we call self-sustaining contributors to society. Young people who can build sustainable lives and livelihoods for themselves, and then go on and give back and contribute to building a better society for everyone.
Right. Now, you said 20 years ago the organization would have been first founded. How has that journey, when you would have joined on, how has that journey been? 20 years of impacting the next generation. Talk to us about that, the impact and impact on the lives that you've been able to reach.
20 years is no small feat by any measure. And what Heroes has been doing very well, even from before I came on, is understanding the needs of children and youth in this country, listening to them, creating safe spaces to them, and adapting and evolving over the years to meet their needs. Now, the organization has taken on a number of initiatives and activities over the years, but some things remain at the core.
Right.
That is youth development, helping these young people develop to be their best selves, mentorship, because we believe in a collaborative approach to mentorship, and that mentorship culture being able to really help us share and learn and grow together, connecting young people to opportunities, be it academic, skills development, employment, through internships or jobs, or just learning about things beyond what they would usually get. And very importantly, empowering youth voices and actions. And over the 20 years, that has taken form and shape in very different ways. Now, I joined Heroes in 2020, in March 2020. 2 weeks before the pandemic. And we had a big plan to go digital and leverage technology for the organization to help it go digital and expand our reach. And then, 2 weeks into it, pandemic hit, we had to fast track and change everything. And this is where I really saw the passion and the power of the team. Because I come from energy. So my background is energy. I've worked in the energy sector most of my life. And I understand digital transformation like the back of my hand.
Right.
This is an organization that's focused on youth.
Yes.
And they did not let that understanding be a problem for them, because they were on calls with me from 7 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the night, learning about Microsoft Enterprise, looking at us building our SharePoints, building our team sites, educating themselves, because they then had to go on and educate children and teachers and parents about digital, so that we can get the children on board.
Yes.
And I'm very proud to say that by the start of April, we were able to move at least 250 children onto our digital platform to get them connected to continue the work during the pandemic.
That is absolutely amazing, because we've seen where the pandemic would have halted a lot of work within the community, a lot of core services that would have been needed, especially, based on the pandemic and the issues that would have come out of it. It's amazing that the work did not stop. What does that look like now? Now that, restrictions have lessened, we're back outside in a sense. What does that look like? How have you been able to incorporate that digital advancement of the organization now?
So going back to the 4 pillars that we spoke about, really honing in now on this development and mentorship part, which is at the core. We have a program called the Heroes Development Program.
Okay.
Now that focuses on the psychosocial development of children and youth and sustainability education. So psychosocial development means their mental health and well-being, but also how they connect to the world around them, how they interact with the world around them. And that's a big thing. So we did an assessment at the start of 2021. Wait, what do you have? 2022?
Yes.
Because we're in 2023. In 2022, we did a mental health and well-being, a psychosocial assessment. And we found that 95% of the children we assessed were at risk of emotional behavioral problems. And that is, they had problems and challenges understanding their internal states, understanding their thoughts and their feelings and their emotions, adapting to change, responding to stress. And that showed up even more after the pandemic. It was about 200 children we assessed, locals and migrants. And that 95% really, really worry us. But I mean, Heroes has been that's why Heroes has been around, that psychosocial assessment. So listening to them, giving them support and that mental health and well-being. When it comes to sustainability education, for us, that shows up as year one, equality and elimination of violence, because that is fundamental. Those are fundamental values towards building a safe and sustainable society. Year two, we focus on energy and environmental sustainability,
Okay.
because the environment is really important to young people. But we live on an island where energy is our lifeblood. So how do we help the children to understand that so that they can help us find that balance together going forward? Because it's a critical balance to find for islands such as Trinidad and Tobago. And in year three, the focus is on personal development and career development, because all of the work that we are doing will be for nothing if these children cannot find jobs, create jobs, and build sustainable livelihoods for themselves. So that's
Yes.
one part. That's a youth development part that we have down to a T. What we've been working on, and I mean, I really want to shout out my partners here, UNICEF and the Pan American Development Foundation. They have been with us since I came on board. They helped us, UNICEF helped us revise the curriculum with digitizing the curriculum, using a lot of videos that we're putting up on our Heroes Academy platform, so that people outside of our programs could access it. And PADF has helped us expand and support the migrant community over the last few years. And what we've been working on over the past 2 years to really bring in like how we do youth development is one, the technical skills training.
Right.
We did financial management. We did project-based learning over as part of Heroes for these last 20 years. We're expanding that into technology skills and to other skills that we will be announcing and talking about in the next few months. Because we finally got away with some really great international partners to make that concrete and comprehensive and connected youth development. And the third part is that employability. So we've been able to, over the years, get children connected to internships and jobs. We've put a new structure into that, and we're really ramping that up again with some local and international partners to connect these young people with the technical skills, but also with the job opportunities so that they can learn and grow with mentorship and really develop and shape, not just get jobs, but help shape the future of the workplace that they are going to be the ones inheriting and leading.
There's so much good in what you said in terms of the initiatives and the focus on the holistic aspect of the youth. So not just on, their development in terms of, their activities, but also their mindset as well. What sort of challenges would you be up against, going into this with the young persons? Because, you're training them in, I guess, incubator sense, but then they still have to go back home. They still have to go into the real world. So what sort of challenges have you and the team faced, and how have you been able to navigate that?
Well, the number one challenge that we face as an organization is funding, because development is work. And we have to explain and show people that investing in young people is worth the investment on one part, but it also takes money to do. It takes work. And I mean, I personally believe that people who care and people who want to help others should not be suffering to live while they help others.
Correct.
That's one thing. The other thing is, yes, young people are dynamic creatures. They are faced with a suite of problems. Young people need multifaceted support. Multifaceted support is expensive. Heroes cannot do everything. No organization can do everything. It requires collaboration. It requires a system that supports this. So our focus has always been understanding the needs of the children and listening to them to help shape the interventions where we can directly support. That's how we do our problem tree assessment in determining what the program looks like, what parts of the curriculum are delivered. We also work closely with the schools and with the authorized adults, the parents or guardians, because you are right, they are in this environment. We have some amazing support from some teachers and some principals in the schools who help us do the work we do. We cannot cannot do the work without them. So we do needs assessments with the schools to understand what the schools are going through, what the challenges they are facing, what the challenges they are seeing with the young people, factor that into the interventions, but work very closely with them to help them understand what we are doing, where we need their support, where they need our support, and how do we support the children and to do interventions in the school. Because another part of what we do is making sure that these young people can go back into their schools, go back into their home, go back in their communities and lead interventions.
Okay.
And we work with the parents. And that's something that we know we need to do a lot more work on, but we've tried our very best to bring them in. We saw it with the technology. Because as the children started to use digital more, the parents were concerned. Why is my child on the computer so much? Why is my child on the
Right.
phone so much? So we had to bring them in and help them understand what was happening, show them the tools so that they can monitor as well the children and see what they're doing. That's one approach. The other part is collecting data. For us, it's very important to collect data that we then share with the decision makers, which is the government. And I want to say I'm very hopeful from what we have seen thus far. The example I will give is the draft National Child Safeguarding and Protection Framework that the Office of the Prime Minister Gender and Child Affairs has worked on. Now, they rolled out a child policy. Again, I came from energy. So HSSE is the Bible. Health and safety is the Bible. When I came across here, finding guidelines for working with children and youth was not as easy. Reached out to the Office of the Prime Minister, Gender and Child Affairs, because this is their remit. Found out about the National Child Policy, a great thing that they put in place to help guide it. Because yes, we know things were not in place.
Right.
We accept that, but they have been working.
Okay.
And it was something, it was a learning for me interacting with them to find out about these things, find out about the work that was being done on the safeguarding framework, which is in draft form, and I'm looking forward to seeing that roll out because that is transformational. The child abuse investigation, the child abuse task force, that was another thing that we were able to support and see through with clear actions, because we implemented a safeguarding and protection framework in the organization when I came in to make sure that we protect these children from any risk. I mean, Heroes has been doing it rigorously with the Big Brothers, Big Sisters as our standard, because that's an international standard, but we expanded it even more and to bring in everyone into not only the protection, but the education around safeguarding and protection. So all of the information that we're collecting here, all of the information about the mental health and well-being, we're sharing with the different ministries that we work with. Obviously, the Prime Minister, Gender and Child Affairs, Ministry of Education, who've been very receptive of the information and very willing to listen to what we have to say. So we're hoping the more data we collect about children, the more that helps to influence our national development agenda and the things we put in place to support children and youth in the country.
Awesome, awesome. Now, let's talk about the Big Brother, Big Sister program. In regards to, recently we saw where someone in the public eye was brought into a school to speak to students. However, the action by the school is now being called into question by the public, by the ministry because of the lifestyle and the brand of the person. Let's talk about the heroism aspect of the Heroes Foundation and, how important it is when selecting someone who's going to be an exemplar, who's going to be a mentor, a big brother, a big sister.
So I won't talk about that particular incident because I do not have enough information about that.
Yes.
But I will say when it comes to us connecting people with children and youth, we are very rigorous in that process. Because I personally believe that everyone has a story to share. Everyone's story and experiences is valuable. What we want to make sure of is when we connect people, children and youth, the young people, one, they can be authentic. They can open up and respond to the children and share these stories so that these children learn from them. Two, they can point children and youth in the direction that they need to go, in the direction where we understand. I mean, my personal view is that this secondary school age generation is the most neglected generation that we have. A lot of good support and a lot of good work is going into primary school, which is critical and needed and very important because that is going to lay a solid foundation for our future. The 20 to 30-year-olds, they grew up in a time where I mean, we've got so much influence coming in from outside. That their perspective is a more challenging And I think some work needs to be done there in helping, in understanding why things are the way they are. Because the ideas that they have are important and real and very valuable, but finding the connection between why things are the way they are right now, where we need them to be, and how do we move it across without just breaking down everything. If we break down everything, something has to fill the gap. And if we have nothing to
Correct.
fill it, we're going to end up in a worse situation.
Yeah.
But this secondary age group, they I think they've generally been neglected by society because they have so much issues that older people may not quite relate to or understand,
Yes.
but they are also connected to this. You see this? They understand this better than the rest of us. And since TikTok came on board, that has changed the world dynamically. They connected to so much information and activities. They're seeing things on unregulated social media platforms where the content and the information coming to them has no standard. So when you're generally not connected to activities or initiatives that engage you, and you're seeing all these things that you think is cool or popular, that people seem to, because social media, everybody has a different personality, and all sorts of things come up in social media. You're seeing
Yes.
those things and you're thinking those things are cool. That's what's shaping a lot of this age group's mind. But there's an opportunity there to help these young people know what is best for them, or how to understand and think critically about what are the consequences of actions, what is the impact of actions
Yes.
beyond just what I'm experiencing and at this time. And that's the opportunity that we try to get to at Heroes, so that they can think critically about it themselves. One 14-year-old in our program said this, and I tell everybody this. We're talking about equality and elimination of violence, and the topic of sex and consent came up. And they raised concerns about some of the things that they were being told in school
Okay.
that I will not repeat
Right.
on television. But it was very concerning that teachers were telling children things that are not based in fact. And they know. They're sensible. Children are smart, sensible creatures.
Yeah.
They understand things. So if things would make sense, they will know. And if they feel like they cannot trust you to tell them the truth, they'll stop listening to you. And
Right.
she said, whatever we do not learn in school, that you can bet that there's a man in our inbox telling us what they think we want to hear. And if we have nobody to listen to us and they're listening to us, we will listen to them. And that was a huge wake up call for us,
It
because
is.
that is the reality that children live in this country,
Yeah.
especially because they're connected so much to technology.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. You're listening to this interview, and persons may want to get involved in the movement somehow, whether to become a mentor, whether to donate, whether they know children who can be a part of this. How do they get in touch with the organization? Where do they get more information?
Sure. So you can reach out via the social media platforms. You can email us at info@theheroesfoundation.com, or you can call us at 218-HERO, and we can start telling you more. Now, if anybody wants to volunteer and help us with communication, we need that help.
Okay.
Definitely. Our website is good, but it really doesn't capture in depth the information that we have. I mean, our focus has always been on program delivery, but
Right.
we rely on help and support to do all the other things that we just do not have the funding to hire staff to do.
Okay.
So the information that you get coming out in a timely fashion on our social media isn't quite there, but there's a lot of good information there about the work that we do. But if
Right.
you want to really find out more, if you want to get in more, just reach out, give us a call, shoot us an email, send us a message, and we will have that conversation.
Thank you so much, Lawrence, for the work that you're doing, you and the team at the Heroes Foundation. Thank you for taking some time out of your morning to join us today to really share about it. All the best to you. Persons that are interested, reach out to them, volunteer your time, show support. All right, so we are going to wrap up today's show. We thank you so much for staying with us. Our inspiration bit for today is it's love with action. So love is not just a noun, it's a verb. Everything that we do can be driven with love, with passion. How we treat others, how we treat ourselves, how we do our jobs, we do it with love. When you do things driven by love, it makes the difference. It makes what may be a difficult task seem like something that is possible because you're doing it out of love. You're doing it genuinely. We thank you for staying with us this morning. We hope that you have a great day. Remember, if you want an interview, you can simply reach out to us via email amprimewesen@gmail.com. You can also WhatsApp or call us at 868-620-1331. Stay safe. Remember to wash your hands, sanitize, and if you do not feel well, stay at home. Have a great day.